Good. Good evening, everybody. It's Monday, June 10th, 2024. The time is 5:32 p.m. Just call this Town Board special meeting order. But first, I'd like to ask everybody to please rise and say the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, following the agenda, the next on the list is public comments, questions on the agenda items only, and we do have a list. Depending on how many, we are going to try to pay attention to the 3 minutes, depending on the list. I only have 2. But in recent past, they haven't all signed up, okay? So we'll let it go until to a point. Our rule is normally 3 minutes, but I'm willing to go past that, okay? First one up, Mr. Pelletier.
Michael Pelletier, Wingdale resident. Good evening, Supervisor Eno, board, and community members. First, I'd like to ask, as I always do every month, our potable water at the park.
Raise your mic up.
Oh, a little more, hon? How's this?
Better.
You're welcome. Just checking on potable water, as I do every month. My biggest concern, making sure we're still good there.
Julie gave a report last month. It's passed.
Yeah, it was passed, just concerned, just making sure that we're good, and we're still fine. I would like to state again, as I did the first meeting, I'm not in opposition of a community center. In the current state, I am. I'm opposed just to the way that it's looking at this moment. One of the biggest issues, this is our 4th rendition that I've seen in the 3 months I've been here to speak. And obviously, it's not our final. So my concern is that you want us to vote on a project that we don't have a final building on, we don't have a final layout.
We're voting yes or no on borrowing the money
Correct.
to come up with the final rendition.
Correct.
Okay, of the rec facility. And all the ideas that we have come up to now will be put into that final conception,
Okay.
okay?
All right, so but, I mean, this is great, but this doesn't mean that this is what's going to be in the building,
That's
is
true.
my point. That's
This is
just
the
one-
latest that we've come up with
Correct.
within that budget at the best estimates we can come up with.
Yep, okay. So, that, again, this just leads to ask, what is our final rendition going to look like? Just so we know what we're getting. If the building does come in as planned, over budget, what is the plan? I mean, are we cutting back? Are we going to do it in phases? We just don't know which direction we're going. I don't want to bring up polling, but, I mean, last month they were brought in, to push for it, to have us to have their indoor space, which is great. Like I said, we need an indoor space for the kids, yes. But they have a 295-acre parcel with many, many buildings on it. Consists of various use areas, 2 full-size commercial kitchens, and again, it was brought up that that's a $10 million value. We're looking for almost the same thing for one building. So again, just looking to make numbers work. It's also my understanding, the way I read the loan documents, that it had to pass by a 2/3 supermajority on the board. Does this also go to the public in our vote? Is that a 2/3 majority vote, supermajority?
No.
It's not.
Council, correct?
The bond vote is a simple majority of the town residents.
Simple majority, not a super.
Correct.
Okay. Just for clarification, thank you. There's still many residents, as we all have seen lately, that we're not aware of the project. Yes, we're all aware that it's been going on for 10 years, which it needs to happen. Just many of them are not aware that the vote is in 6 weeks. So just, again, the brochure that you guys have put together is great. That gets out as a mailer, then everybody's going to know. Just cutting it awful close. In addition, it seems there's still a lot of confusion about the tax increase, of course. It is proposed under $13 a month, which is, payable by many, which is $150 a year on an average $100,000 house. A home that's valued and assessed at $400,000, you're talking $50 a month and $600 a year. Again, this is only for the building, only for the loan. So we have to add in a couple employees a year, salary and operating costs per year, so probably another $300,000 to operate, roughly, just a good number. So we're looking at another 2/3 of that, again, that we will have to come up with, which is another $10 a month or $120 a year. I mean, I don't know if this is going to get pushed into the following year's taxes. I just think it's difficult to raise that amount of money with the park. In closing, I'd ask that the town take residents to vote on this. Please provide accurate final numbers and prints is all I'm looking for. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
It will be counted and finalized by the Board of Elections, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The final count will be certified by the Board of Elections, correct?
Oh, yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Board election vote.
Thank you, Mike. Second, we have Heather Eno.
Good evening. My name is Heather Yeno. I live in Dover Plains. I wanted to remind our residents of a few things to put in perspective before voting yes for the rec center. In January of 2024, Andrew House, our county legislator, wrote a letter to commissioners regarding the whole water company increase. He stated, I quote, "I have seen a day-to-day struggle of our community firsthand. This level of increase will cause severe financial burdens to our community, comprised mostly of seniors on fixed incomes, young families, immigrants, and small businesses," end quote. That was all stated in regards of an everyday necessity to survive. A rec center is not a necessity to survive. And we are being asked to vote yes on a greater tax increase just months later. Supervisor Rich Eno stated, I quote, "The increase was estimated to cost the town upwards to $6,000, and it was one of the reasons the town may exceed a tax cap," end quote. Now we are speaking about millions, not thousands. In their plea to get rid of the increase, February 24, it was stated, I quote from Jill Fieldstein, "This outrageously high rate increase would be foisted on a population that is already forced to make difficult choices between buying medicines, putting food on the table, keeping homes warm, and filling our gas tanks. It is unconscionable that anyone in this great country of ours should have to think about whether they can afford to have fresh water," end quote. Well, I know I need fresh water. I do not need a $9.5 million rec center. Do our children need a rec center? Yes, not that exorbitant. Michelle Hinchney, New York State Senator of Dutchess County, stated, and I quote, "It was imperative to understand that in 2021, a study reported a poverty rate of 37.1% in Dover Plains. So what makes things different that we can all of a sudden afford an tax increase at a rec center now? The tax increase you compare to buying a McDonald's meal is not true. It's just a small increase. You state what it would increase a month based on an assessed 100,000, times that by 12. Houses that are assessed at more than 100,000 or people that own multiple properties are going to paying a lot more than a McDonald's meal. You put it in the lowest terms to make it look the most minimal and desirable for us landowners. Rents will go up. Homeowners will not have a choice. Rent is high enough right now, and I'm not okay with letting a long-term faithful tenant move out because he or she can't afford housing due to living on a fixed income. Katie House at the last meeting stated, "Let someone else rent that will benefit from a rec center." That's not okay. In closing, I have a question for the town. This will be paid with a bond, and how much is the project in after interest costing the taxpayers? So thank you for listening to my concerns, and hopefully the facts will help our residents come to the right decision on how they decide to vote in July. I'm not opposed to a rec center. I'm opposed to such a huge cost that's going to, with no grants, that's going to affect all of us taxpayers.
Anybody else? Anybody else has anything else to say or a question to ask, please approach the podium.
Well, I just didn't hear you answer her question at the end. How much is it going to cost when it's all said and done?
The facility itself or total?
With the total, with the grant, when the grant paid off, the interest and everything? Okay,
There's no grant.
so, all right, so then with interest and everything.
We're asking permission to borrow $9.5 million. to build the facility and the equipment and everything else that it needs within it. And then after that, we will supply it with employees that we have already and extras, and that will be budgeted just like we do now.
Okay, but on top of it, final cost with the interest, what will it be cost at the end of the day?
Do you have that number?
I don't have the,
It depends.
it's,
The vote, the way it works is confusing, but the board could have approved it on their own, but they decided to put it out to a townwide vote. Once the vote takes place, if it passes, then there's a bond market, so it'd be, the board can't tell you what the interest is
I
right
buy
now.
houses, when I buy the house, I know after 30 years what that house is gonna cost me, you know, you get the breakdown, so you can't tell me you don't have an idea what that's gonna cost. And also, like you said, you say it's the same as like going to the gym, or, it's my choice to go to the gym. If she don't wanna go to the gym, why should she have to pay? No one uses the basketball courts at a rec center as it is. So,
At where?
at the park,
That's not true.
not a lot of people. You drive.
that's not true.
Listen, I'm gonna make one statement here, okay? And I've said this several times. It is our job to bring to this town the improvements and the additions that the people ask us to try to bring. We've had several surveys. Some people said they didn't see them. Well, I can tell you it's been at least 2 or 3 Dover days. We've held surveys, and this was always at the top of the list. Now, we're only bringing it to the people, and the people will make the decision, because that's our job. We felt it was the right way to let the people decide, because you're the ones paying for it. If this doesn't pass in July, we'll continue to do our job and find another way, or another thing, or another option to bring to you, the people. That's what we're doing here. We're just trying to improve our town, to bring what the people have asked, okay? And this was at the top of the list. If it doesn't pass, we reboot and find out what else you guys would like. That's our job.
Again,
We're not here to put anybody in the poorhouse,
and not
but to bring improve.
Together, like she said, the rec center is a great idea, but
Correct.
it need to be $10 million with radiant heat.
Well, we put everything in there that people have talked about, and it started out at about 16.5 million. So we've taken a lot out of it and still kept within the building to do what our programs do now. Okay? And that's all we've done here. And that's all our job is to do. So again, if it doesn't pass, we will now reboot, go back to those surveys and see what needs to be brought here. Okay? And with that, I'll answer a couple questions that I saw on the social media. Everybody says, well, we need a store. Need a store. Well, there's the last 3 or 4 or 5 months worth of calling stores. And you know what the first 2 questions are from every one of them? What's your population before and after the last census? And guess what? That liar of a 2020 census has us going backwards. I don't believe it for a second. The next question is do you have any assisted living or senior population in your town? Well, guess what? We do. And just outside the town, we have another. So that's what they're looking at. Okay? So whoever wanted to keep typing, and all of those people that like to type, we need a market, we try. Here's a man right here in the business, and he'll tell you what they look for. Go ahead, buddy.
Even though that's
Come, you want to do me a favor? Just come on up.
Introduce yourself.
How you doing? I'm Bill Romeo.
Yeah.
Now, even though that's what they look for, couldn't you give them an incentive to come? A tax break at the first few years and maybe some monies towards helping them build it, you know, instead, that would give them incentive to come.
Some of that is probably not allowed to do by the town,
Okay.
okay? They have reached out to landowners in this town and have approached, there was one that approached a landowner. They wanted the keys. They wanted them to build it, them to do it, and they would come and put their product and their name on it. Absolutely not. Nobody's going to invest $9 or $10 million in building a facility like that to give the keys to somebody.
No, absolutely.
Okay?
That's why I said,
So we've tried, is what I'm getting at. And again, people, we're not here to bury anybody. We're here doing our job to bring it to you. We're just trying to fulfill and meet what everybody, what a majority, has come to us and asked for. So you could vote yes in July. You can vote no in July. Either way, we're going to keep working to make it better for the town itself. I mean, look what we've done. Look what we've done in 4 or 5 years. And before, I will definitely give credit where credit is due. Predecessors before me brought things to this town, okay? And this was the next step. This was the next step to make this rec facility, our gym, our senior facilities, our kitchens, which are allowed. We checked it. Okay? My buddy, right? So, and put it all in-house, under our name. We're not held at bay by schedules at the school. We're not held at bay if their snow day is on Friday, but they cancel our Saturday because they don't know if they'll have the parking lots cleaned. We know we'll be clean. Okay? That's all we're doing. All right? We've been taking a lot of heat the last few months, and you know what? That's our job. That's what we're here for. I got broad shoulders. But all we're trying to do is bring what we feel is best for improving our town, putting our stamp on this town, and making people want to come to this town and not only use our facilities, but maybe host things here. Because whether people doubt it or not, this could possibly be a revenue maker of some sort. Okay? It's ours. We can then say what's allowed and what isn't. We want to bring in a league out of Pauling or Patterson wants to get together with their rec and basketball program and run one hell of a tournament. We got to hope the school lets us. It's revenue. It's use. So that's all we're trying to do. Okay? I respect each and every one of you in your opinion, and I really do. We've been taking a lot of heat, but again, that's our job to listen. And we're listening, and we've made changes. We've taken some of the comments and put it in the newest rendition. We listened to our seniors. We listened to Mike and all the gentlemen that came with him the last 3 meetings. Okay? Somebody made a comment, we've been working on this over a year in secret. Well, there's a big difference. A committee can work for months getting ready to present something. And then we present it. And that was in September, and that was publicly notified, put out, I should say, a notice was put out, and we had people here. So people found out about it. But because some people didn't, sorry, we have changed the way we've notified about this. We put money aside, now we're doing a mailing. Julie and Katie and everybody else have gotten together, and we put out a mailing. We'll be handing out flyers about the vote date on July 1st, Julie? The camp? The first 2 or 3 sessions of camp, up until the vote. The mailer will be out. We're doing everything we can to notify you and let you know what we'd like to do. The numbers that we have given you are the best to our knowledge at this point in time. Okay? And you're right, 9.5 million, 4.5% interest. What is the total cost? You got a calculator, we'll come up with a guesstimate. All right?
Were you able to find anything or no?
So, no, we didn't.
We don't have a rate
You
yet.
lead, I know who you are, I'll call you.
Yeah.
I promise that, okay? If we can get an idea of a number, I'll call you, and I'll put it out on my own page, okay? So that's all we're trying to do, all right? And again, the committee that's worked on this, along with the other elected officials, we've worked our tails off to try to bring you everything we can, okay? And we feel it's you, the people, that should be making this decision, not us. Like council said, we could have went a different route. What's it called, Tommy? What's the other route we could have taken?
A permissive referendum.
Permissive referendum. Would you please explain what that would have been?
If the board would have voted to move forward, then the townspeople would have to, on their own, bring a written petition to force a vote. The town board on their own decided just to put it out to a vote. It's not required.
We didn't feel that was right.
We agree.
We didn't feel you should have had to work that hard to tell us you didn't want it,
Change our vote,
okay?
a lot of things.
Go ahead.
Richard, could you just clarify?
Step up, please.
Nancy Lamanna. I would could you just clarify for everybody that if this is passed, what is it exactly that we're voting for
You're voting on us to borrow $9.5 million to make this happen.
to pay for this recreation center?
That's it.
Okay.
You're not voting on that.
But this
You're
vote,
voting for us to go and get $9.5 million to make that happen,
okay.
or
So if
Something
this
close.
vote is yes, then this is going forward? Okay, thank you.
if it doesn't pass, we don't move forward with this. We move forward with something else.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Go ahead. You can go next, ma'am. Ma'am? We'll go next,
Can we just,
after Heather.
can you tell me, you said in the first meeting I attended that it was the registered voters of Dover and Wingdale,
Town of
correct?
Dover, yep.
Town of Dover. So that means people that live in Amenia, that pay Amenia land taxes, cannot vote for this?
No, because they pay taxes in Amenia.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify.
They pay land taxes in Amenia, but
But
probably
ta-
school taxes in
Yes,
Dover.
right, that's why I just wanted to clarify that.
Yep, it's just Town of Dover registered voters.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm Deborah Rossi. It was my understanding that there were grants involved in this project. What has changed? Or did those grants go away? Did they expire?
We have $150,000 through ARPA money, which is the COVID-19 recovery money that the town received. And then the town has also received a $150,000 grant through the Dutchess County Community Block Grant. So that's $300,000. That's
Okay.
the only grants that we are eligible for.
Okay. I had thought that there were two others. There were four
Two
altogether.
only.
I was misinformed then?
Yeah, there was never any others besides the ARP money and the county community block grant money.
I think 2 meetings I clarified that we will not stop applying for grants to put towards our recreation program. We'll never stop. So I think somebody else asked that a meeting or two ago, and I clarified that. We receive those, and we will never stop applying for some down the line in the future.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
do they expire, those grants?
The ARPA money needs to be spent by the end of 2026, and the CDBG money needs to be spent by this fall. So they aren't open-ended, but we'll know by July if the project will go forward or not. But they only the ARPA money could probably be reallocated, but the CDBG money, which is, I'm sorry about the acronyms, the county money, if it's not used for this project, we don't get it.
Okay, but you can reapply for that money?
Yes, certainly, and as you probably know, we've received almost $1 million of CDBG money towards projects in the town, capital projects from JHK Park to the stairway down at the American Legion to infrastructure here. So we're very good at getting grants
Okay.
because we do community surveys, basically.
Okay,
So
thank you
so
very
that's the
much.
answer.
Anyone else? Ma'am? Terry, I saw her first.
Hi, I'm Pam Phillips Zeller. I live in Wingdale. I did attend with my daughter and granddaughter the first meeting that you had on this project. And I have to go to what you just said, Mr. Eno, which was that this building is to maintain the programs that you have now. So I have a concern about that. If you're going to spend that amount of money on a facility for programs that you already have, well, it sounds like, okay, your recreation director must be doing a really good job using current resources. Well, let her do her really good job using current resources. And if you're going to have something like this, I have to bring up something that I'm sure has been brought up to you many times. We have no waterfront in this town. We have no pool in this town. When I moved here, I was told, you have this great pool, you know, because first of all, I'm a waterfront person. My degree is in recreation. I've worked with youth activities for 40 years. So at that meeting, I suggested, one, that we need a pool. Now, I understand that a pool is high maintenance. I do understand that. But I also know that you can rent that pool out. We don't have a lot of pools in the area. So you can rent that pool out and cost effectively you can maintain it. Okay, it's not going to generate excess revenue for you, but it'll maintain a facility that we don't have, that we can't send our kids to have swimming lessons. I taught swimming lessons for years and years and years in the town of Southeast. The other thing that I had suggested at the time was there doesn't seem to be a lot of thought that I saw going into exactly what that building is going to be used for. It's nice to say you've got a senior teen center, but what I suggested at that time was getting a group of youth together, a youth leadership group, and saying, okay, help us plan this center. If you had if you had that kind of active planning, I'm not sure that that facility that you've just told me will accommodate present programs, would accommodate any new programming that is desperately needed in this town for kids. So apart from the financial piece of it, and I'm a landowner, okay, so I'm paying taxes like everybody else, from an activity and a recreation and is it going to be used and how is it going to be used? Do I want to spend my money for a facility that's only going to handle program that we have now? Now, I'm very familiar with Patterson Center. Okay, they make wonderful, so I have no problem with the basketball court. I know how hard it is to program the schools, but the fact is you can program the schools. It's not that they're not there, it's that it's difficult. It's not easy. And I've seen the uses that they've made out of that. So the basketball court I actually don't have a problem with. It's like the rest of it. It doesn't seem to be planned to give us anything new. And do I want my tax dollar going to maintaining what we have?
Okay.
I'm always looking for if you're going to spend my money, and I'm a senior citizen, I'm a fixed income, okay, so I have the same concerns that everybody has in terms of taxes. I want to see a facility that's going to be used, that's going to expand programming, that's going to have more community input, and frankly, more youth input, so that we can have a place that we can't just call a teen center, but a place that has the activities that the teens are going to want to come to. Because you can't just build a building and think that they're going to come. They're not going to come unless there's something there that they want. And you're not going to know what they want unless you sit down with them and let them plan what they want. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Point taken.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make a statement to some of those, okay? What this facility would do, as I stated earlier, is the gym would bring all of our basketball and all of our gym programs back home. We ran out of room years ago at the Astor. We had to move it. Our basketball has always been up at the Wingdale Elementary and the high school, and Terry's sitting here, she'll tell you. I used to coach, so I know that. It would bring it back home, okay? Our senior program is in another building. We have to accommodate with the Legion. When schedules conflict, our senior program gets canceled. This would bring it here, And the only conflict that would be on us, and we know the schedule, there would be no conflict. If the Legion needs their house, they get their house. So there's a couple things. The pool, Board of Health, State of New York, way back when, under Supervisor Courtine, shut that pool down, and I can show you every single binder that they sent to us that basically states it'll never open again. Okay? There was too much damage, flood zones, flood maps changed. The last 2 or 3 years, and correct me if I'm wrong, Supervisor, it finished in the red. And that's seasonal passes, summer seasonal passes, opened up from both before the school ended and right after the school opened. It finished in the red. Terry, 2 or 3 years in a row? I'd have to dig out, that's 14 or 15 years ago now. But you can look it up. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, well, there you go. Ryan can tell. Go ahead, tell us. And then you could tell us the price that you looked at building another one, what that was. Thank you.
Hello, Ryan Courtine, former town supervisor. When I was first elected in 2007, it was brought to my attention by the current town board at the time that they had set aside money to upgrade the pool. It was going to be $105,000 to upgrade the pool. So we let the pool go forward in 2008. Just see how it was going to go, and the revenues were about $11,000 or $12,000 from about 100 or so family passes, and then people paying like single day passes, and I think maybe some concessions and stuff like that. And then the expenses were around $30,000 when you take into account lifeguards and pool chemicals and just other expenses that went along with the pool. So the pool itself was running about 18, 19, 20,000 or so in the red on an annual basis. But if you looked at the $105,000 that was set aside to fix it, we asked our town engineer at the time, and who's also here, could this last for more than, how long should we expect these repairs to last? And we were told, effectively, expect 5 years, and you might have to put more money into fixing this pool. So really the annual cost wasn't, say, $30,000. It was really like an additional $21,000 a year for the next 5 years, because then maybe you'd have to put another $105,000 or whatever into fixing the pool further. So, while I was bringing in $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, it was going to cost us really like $50,000 a year for the next 5 years. So the decision was made to close the pool, and if you remember, it was tough financial times then, and we were looking at declining mortgage revenues and sales tax revenues and other things going on. So
Thank you.
that was a decision that was made by the town
Ryan,
board.
what did they say about putting in a new pool somewhere?
The only thing that was discussed at the time was, that if Dover Knowles was going to happen, which myself, a lot of people were obviously in favor of, that, there could be a pool facility there that the public could access, and, obviously because of the housing market mainly, and then also in part because of the DEC, Dover Knowles didn't happen, so, that didn't happen. But a new pool, kind of state-of-the-art pool is an expensive, endeavor. Another idea that was talked about was maybe possibly making the pond at Boyce Park into some kind of beach. But again, we didn't really get too far into looking at that. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So we've thought about it. We've talked about it. And again, we came back to this scenario. I don't know what else we can say. I don't know what else we can do. Yes, taxes will go up. You want to bring things to the town. You want to improve your town. You want to add programs and facilities to your town. Somebody's got to pay for it. And we all do.
When you use the facilities at the school, you rent that, right?
Julie, we pay for the use of the gym for basketball. So
Saturdays, and we have theater on the weekends. At night, because the janitors are there until 11 o'clock, we don't have to. And there's other programs going on as well.
So yes, we do pay to use the gym with our basketball programs and any others.
Will there be fees charged for the different
organizations using this facility?
Absolutely. We charge now.
Well, I don't see what the pressing need for basketball is. I don't think anybody here plays basketball.
Will that revenue that you charge for the programs, does that go towards the loan, or does only our money go towards the loan for tax?
It's revenue that we will use to pay expenses, repairs, facility maintenance,
So
yeah.
not towards the loan itself?
It all goes into our funds and it'll all be sent. It's all within our budget.
Is there a projected profit and loss on this building yet before we vote on it?
No. No. We know what we pay now, so that would be a gain, because we wouldn't be paying it to the schools. We know what we do take in now, but we only have this much to advertise. You know, we have the building in Dover with the pavilion, we have the pavilion in Wingdale. Now we'll have this along with the others. You know, truthfully, could we come up with a realistic number? I don't know if we could. I really don't. Because some summers we rent the hell out of that thing. And then this summer, what, we rented it three times so far? For anything.
So we don't average that out to come up with a number?
We didn't, no. Nope. Anything else? Just an idea of any of them he's looking for.
I can't tell them so far, but we're pretty packed for the whole summer.
For the summer?
For whole building.
Still early.
Okay.
Like last weekend, all working all weekend.
All right. Anything else?
Terry.
Terry, did you have something?
Oh, could we move into the presentation part,
Yep,
if that's all right?
yep.
All right,
See
great.
if we can fire this
All
up.
right, yes, thank you. And thank you all for being here tonight. It really is great to see people here, and hopefully this information that we'll continue to share will fill in some information, maybe even make some more questions, but at the same time, we're trying to be as transparent and informative as we can be. All right, so as this is always our introductory slide that we're going to continue discussion. Could you turn to the next slide, and I'll go over the list of our presenters tonight. All right, great, thank you. So we'll begin by having Julie talk a little bit about the revised interior layout, and then we also have our newsletter in copy tonight for you to take with you. It's going to the printer to be able to be printed and mailed to every household. That probably will be at the end of June. So Julie will fill us in about that information. As you can see in the very front, the revised layout, just to provide some more information. Then we're honored to have Matt Chabaro, the Town of Patterson Recreation Director, who's going to talk with us a little bit about recreation in their community and some of the innovative things they are doing. And then we have a delight with Terry Potasnik, our former Town of Dover Recreation Director, who knows well about the seed of this idea being planted long ago. And then I'll continue with some more reasons why, to help fill out some information about the benefits of a community recreation center, all for your education and information. So I'll turn things over first to Julie to talk a little bit about the revised interior layout, which continues to evolve as we get more information and make better decisions about the types of facility it would be.
Hi, I'm Julie Muncy, Recreation Director, Dover Recreation. So I just want to thank everybody for coming here. We're glad you're here. We want the feedback. We want, we want you to tell us your concerns. We want you, whether you say yes or no, it's really up to you. I'm just here to help the process go a little bit better, or to understand a little bit better. I had some phone calls this week, and I tried to explain to people. They had some questions about the building, some of the new version that I did. So I answered them the best way I could. So I hope, plus they asked about the referendum, what exactly it is. So your vote, obviously it's been said tonight, you're voting for the money, you're not voting for the building itself. But with that,
back in September, we had our architects come with the full version of what we would have liked to do, but unfortunately, we couldn't money-wise. So we went down to 110 by 110 version of the building with a storage, excuse me, with a storage with the gym, some offices. So basically, what I did was just change the rendering a little bit to really show what we're looking to do. Obviously, we would like it to show everything there, maybe even more, but we don't know that, obviously. But what I basically did was just change it to a square to a rectangle. So instead of 110 by 110, I did add 1,000 square foot. I went from 100 to 130. And on the other version, the gym actually was not up to what it was supposed to be. So I made it to the 84 by 50, which is the high school version, not a college version of a gym. Put the bleachers, it's going the same way. But then what I did was put the entrance there. We have our bathrooms, our offices. I know I'm supposed to go up there, but I don't know if you can hear me. And then because in March we the architect came and said that we would be putting the mechanical room upstairs, so that actually gave us the second floor, which is really what Fishkill Recreation has. All of their mechanical is upstairs. So what they did was they made their mechanical room basically bigger over their community room that they have, they use for their seniors, for parties, for things like that. And they made storage. So basically, because we had that, we were able to make that upstairs because that's where they want to put the mechanical. I took the storage out of that first rendering and basically put it upstairs with what they have. So I basically mirrored their facility. I don't know, hold on, with the second floor. This second floor, if you look, you would kind of go like this. Sorry. And that's basically how Fishkill Recreation is. They have their stairs going up, they have gym, their stairs going up, their mechanical is here, their storage is there, and they actually have a little balcony so that the parents and people can go and watch their kids while they're playing, whether there's events or whatever. So that just gave us more room to put a bigger multi-purpose room, whether it's seniors, whether it's teens, whatever we decide to put in there, whether we rent it out. This third space is also gives you, the 30 by 80 gives you space to do what we had spoke to before, the farmers markets, the different events, the different rentals that we could do. But this also opens up huge here into the multi-purpose, so you could actually use both. And then the kitchen here, which I said 300 square foot. It's a 15 by 20. Put a window here, storage closet, window there, so if we decide to do food or we have somebody, like our seniors or whoever we happen to go in there who rents it, however we decide to do, we would put a window there. So if we decide to, if we have basketball tournaments, we can do food, whatever we choose to do. Entranceway, our offices over here, and then the bathrooms. And basically the bathroom size is 240 square foot. Westchester Modular, years and years, about 15 years ago, Terry, Charlie Hatcher, gave us a rendering of a much bigger building of 140 by 120 or something. So that was kind of the size of the bathroom. Of course, that was 15 years ago. Everything changes. I know codes change, but that's how I got to 240 square foot. So I also went to Patterson Recreation, I went to Fishkill Recreation, Pauling Recreation. I'm always, every month I get along, I get together with other recreation directors who have buildings, as well as people who don't. So I went to all the places that have buildings and I tried to mirror as much as they had, as well as what we would like, what we want to see for you guys. So, like I said, it's it's 1,000 square feet more that I added, but the original building in the other smaller picture that you guys saw before was 110 by 110. So it was 12,000, now it's 13,000. So we were just basically just made a rectangle so we were able to put more things in that we could use. So that's how that new concept came up that we were trying to do. Sorry. So hopefully everybody kind of understood where that came from, how the new rendering came. Would I love to see that? Would I love to see more? Absolutely. But as you know, if we go for the bond and the vote is yes, we can only go up to that 9 million. If it doesn't go up to 9 million, we don't spend the 9 million. Whatever the building costs, with the new septic, with the new well, with the generator, however we decide to do it, it has to be underneath that amount of money. But that's the rendering that I would love to see, and hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. To have multiple programs, multiple rentals, however we can do it. With a building like that, you can have more than one program going on at once. You can have summer camp, you can have not just summer camp, but you can have other people, you can have other programs, whether it's in that multi-purpose room, whether they're in the gym, whether in that third space right there, you can have multiple things going on at once. You're capable of doing that.
Julie, can I just ask for a clarification? It was mentioned that currently we are only looking at current programs, but could you talk more about the new future programs that would take place here?
Well, years ago, we used to have cheerleading, we used to have gymnastics, but we did those in the school as well as the Astor School. So those two programs we used to have, we are unable to do those programs. Like we said, we have our senior program at the Legion Hall. We're able to do that. We do it twice a week. We could have it more than twice a week. Other recreation departments have it every day. Some have it 3 or 4 times a week. We could use, we also have, besides our basketball, we had at one time boot camp, we had a Pilates, more fitness programs we can put in there at the same time as other things can go in there. The idea of that gym was, how the school, the Wingdale Elementary, the high school, is to put that solid wall that goes in the middle to separate the two sides of the gym. That is something that we could do. That is something that was in the original plan all along, so that you could put more than one thing at a time in that gym as well as other things. So there's, the farmers markets, the different programs. I mean, I know other recreations have, I know Matt will talk about it from Patterson Rec. He has different people come in and rent it as well as local. We can have plenty of different things. Anything that is outside can come inside. We don't have an inside pickleball. We can do pickleball. We could do tennis. You could do volleyball. We're going to be doing a volleyball clinic, but in the summer we're doing it at the high school. So you can, anything that goes outside can go inside, obviously. So we're trying to do as much as we can. Will it all be free? No. Will we have free? Absolutely. We have a adult basketball program at the school every Friday. It has ended, but it starts in September. It goes right till June. We've done that for years, for the last 15, 20 years with Terry. We still continue to do that. That's a free program. Anybody can go to that. Men, women, it doesn't matter. It's an adult program, 18 years or over. So there will still be free programs, as well as obviously paid programs, not just day camp, not just basketball, but other things. But free, yes, and it's also a place. I want it to be a safe space for our seniors as well as our teens. I know Pauling got a grant to get the video games and different things that they use for their teen center. They got a grant for that. That is something we can definitely do, to bring in stuff for the teens who want to come in. I know the library does a lot as well. You can do chess, they still have Pokemon. There's things that you can still do that you can do in this facility. Like they said, the newsletter should come out hopefully by the end of this month. So the newsletter you have is the newsletter you'll be getting in the mail. If you need more or anybody wants one, definitely Town Hall and the Recreation Department has one. You're more than welcome to pick up as many as you need. The existing, I wanted to just touch upon, somebody had asked me, the existing building that actually is at Boyce Park, which is my office is now, those offices were put in 2012, I think. But anyway, almost 10 years, so we were in Astor Building, and now we are in there. That can actually go back to the original. We used to rent that space out. It's attached to the pavilion, so it is convenient that you could rent that out, still to have inside as well as outside. Could we put in other programs in there? Absolutely. Or, there's things that we can do in that building. Our offices are just walls. They were put up, donated to put up. They can be taken down just as well so that you have a bigger room to do other things there. Does anybody have questions? I can try to answer. Okay.
What do we pay now to the schools for our rec?
We don't. I would say we pay over $1,000 right now. We used to pay more way back when, but because the school needed room, so we kind of barter with them. So they use the fields for track. Sean, cross country. So so they're there as much as possible for track. So we're able to kind of barter with them. But the problem with the schools is, and there's really not a problem, they're very accommodating, but they have so much going on. They have school activities. For example, I think I spoke about this last month, was basketball. We were only there twice in January, twice in February, 3 times on the weekends in March, and we had to do 2 different weeks during the week to finish our basketball games. We try to get about 8 basketball games, as well as Wingdale Elementary. We have K through 2, which you coach, so we had to cancel a few there because they have activities there. So we're very, very grateful for the school. We just would like to have our own space. They've tried to accommodate us, but baseball is in there, soccer is in there during the winter. They need the space too, so.
That was kind of my next question.
Yeah.
How many times a year is there actually a conflict where we have to cancel a scheduled rec program? Just
for basketball, 2, 4, 6, I would say 6 to 8. 6 for regular basketball games, as well as some practices. Our our adult free program, I would say some months we only had 1 day, that we were only there on a Friday. They let us know ahead. We tell them ahead, but it's a free program, so people aren't paying for it. So I would say some months we're only there once. Some days we're only there 2 or 3 times on Fridays. Friday's a hard day. They do a lot of their activity nights on Fridays. They'll switch gyms if they can. She'll try to get us in high school or the middle school, but sometimes you can't because they have their priorities, their sports. So, anything else?
No, that you answered the other one.
Okay.
This is going to be in the parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
It's going to be in the back parking lot. When you go into the Boyce Park, you would go all the way to your left,
Right.
which is the tree line.
Right, so where that's going to be, how is that going to affect, while it's being built, all the programs that you have running now, day camps, everything else, while it's being built, and the parking situations for if you are still going to run all those programs?
Well, we're actually working on, and Joe can help me with this, Joe is our engineer, we're working on the pond to dredge the pond, make it deeper. We're working on that now, within the end of this month, to dredge it, make it deeper. Right now it's very shallow, it's probably less than 5 feet with everything. They want to make it 15 to 20 feet. They're going to make it a little bit wider. And the end part we're able to get rid of. You're only allowed so much that you can take away from the wetland. So we're actually going to be making, I think it's 60 parking spots there, Joe? 60 to 80? Other parking spots there available to help what we're taking away for the parking lot for the building.
So are the programs still going to run while the building is being built?
Yes, because right now, over in that area, soccer is the only thing, and we would just have them park in another, whether we have to use in back of the tennis courts, however we can accommodate them. Our day camp is on the other side under the pavilion, so we would just make sure that, we're over there. We're always over there anyway, unless we're on the soccer field. Any other questions for me?
Terry?
So all those programs that you have in the school could also, and you're only doing them like maybe 8 weeks out of the year, they can be run throughout the year.
Yeah, we can run everything except for our theater program, which is our summer theater program, which we use the auditorium. Yeah.
Stage.
Yeah.
I get it.
So whether we're all year long or we're an 8-week program or however our programs are, everything is at the school as much as possible. We do have a small, we have a youth program that is actually at JHK at our Kitty Corral, which we do that once a week, and that is at JHK. So it's able to accommodate that, because we can't go into the school during the day, and that's the other thing. Any programs, we can't really do anything during the day. We can only do it at night. So we have lucky enough to have JHK, which we're able to do during the day.
So instead of like a one night for an open gym for an adult,
Yeah, you
can
can.
have various nights during
Yeah.
the week. For
But it would also,
open-
yeah, not just
open-
basketball. You can do volleyball.
Women, men, volleyball, whatever.
Whatever,
it would be.
mhm.
It would just bring more to our community.
Right.
For people to participate in.
There's going to be both. It's not just going to be paid. It's free and paid. Definitely paid. I mean, it's realistic.
The issue with extending programs, though, especially when it comes to youth, is the overlap and then the lack of participation in another program. Like I coach in pretty much anything that we do here, but we run into with the softball because there is a spring and a fall where it used to just be a fall soccer program.
I know.
We
Yep.
do a spring, so now we lack numbers and barely have enough kids to put together teams for the softball and baseball teams.
Right.
So if we keep extending programs, we're gonna lose more kids from other programs, and
Right.
we're just not gonna have a program.
And remember-
And we're gonna have to go somewhere else to do
Right.
a program.
And remember, it's not just kids programs. We can do adult programs. You guys want to do things, there's things that we can do. So it's not just kids program. It's adult, it's senior, it's families. And teens. So yeah, there's definitely, we run it, yeah, you're absolutely right. We do run into that, especially if we get extended. Basketball goes from November to the end of March. So I know that some people don't make the games because baseball starts. I absolutely understand that. So, but it's not just kids, it's adults, it's families, it's everything.
So you mentioned that even though summer camp is going on, the students have said, here's my only concern. You can't get in any school in this town when the kids are in there. I can't walk in there. You need to have security.
And I do have a security person for day camp, yes. I have for day camp, yes, I have day camp security for that, so I have that. But like I said, we are right now 100% for just particular day camp. So they're not going to be inside 100%. They're going to be mostly outside, but it will be, and we're not in the park. Like right now we have swimming Tuesday, Wednesday, and they have field trips every Thursday. And then we have people come in, like petting zoos and puppet people, on Mondays and on Fridays. So we have people come in. So we're only really there 2 days a week. And those 2 days, if it's good weather, they're outside. They're not going, you know what I mean? Obviously, weather permitted and, heat and decks. I mean, God forbid we have another smoke problem like we had last year. And we were able, thank God, we had an agreement with the schools. We never had to use it, but we had an agreement with Wingdale Elementary. If the smoke was too bad, we were able to use their facility. So like I said, the school is very accommodating for us. We really try, but, it's hard. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Julie.
Oh, sorry.
Originally, for the bathrooms, there was an outside entrance to those bathrooms.
I don't believe there was an outside, but there was one close. So you see that door right there next to the bathrooms? If we're in that building, which we plan to be in this building from probably 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., if we're open the bathrooms are open. We have to have night, I mean, we have to be there at night. We can't close at 4, you know, so, yes, sir.
Do you have an idea what liability insurance is going to be for all these activities?
We already have all our liability activities for now through our insurance, now for all our programs. All, if we go into the school, we give them our insurance. Anything on, as well as other programs like soccer and baseball, they give us their insurance as well. So we have theirs, they have ours, and we have our insurance through the town for all our programs, especially being in the schools. They require it.
Perhaps you could just take a gloss over the newsletter, just to talk about
Oh,
that a
I'm
little
sorry,
bit,
forgot
and
about
then
the
we'll move on to other speakers.
Yes.
Could we go to the
So
next
the
slide?
newsletter, which all of you have, basically, you'll see the front. It does give you some of the details of the referendum that we are going to have in July. It is here from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on July 27th. It's a Saturday. So that we tried to do it that way so everybody could, and it's not near July 4th. So we tried to do it at the end of the summer so that hopefully everybody would be here to vote.
I have a question on the election. If someone's going to be away,
You have to be here to vote. There's no absentee, right? Correct?
Yes, it's just a single day. It's just
10 to 4. It's
town
not the 5:30 to
event.
9 o'clock. It's just it's not the normal election.
and some people already have vacation plans.
Yeah.
We certainly understand that, but the nature of it is that it's not a vote that is subject to the Board of Election. It's just a single day vote. So I know that's a difficulty even for people who we've heard of already. So.
Why couldn't we do 2 days?
I think we
don't
just
believe
planned on
that.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to, with the ballots, we've already had to order the ballots, and it was May when we did the ballots. And you have to order so many, so you can't, so you don't run out. So we only did the one day. We did 2,000? I don't know how many we did.
We did a lot.
We did a lot. So we have to order them months and months ahead of time, as well as the schedule, because we have to have the inspectors come to man it. We don't man it. Election board people man everything.
Yeah. All right, and so this will be available at the rec center
Yes.
here at Town Hall. It'll be mailed to every household. It'll be on the web. You're welcome to call Town Hall or the Recreation Office at any time. Stop by and pick up more copies. We tried to answer all the questions as we went along. Perhaps we didn't answer them all, but we certainly will be available to fill in anything to the best of our knowledge in the best of the time and knowledge that we have going forward. So-
Yeah, and if you do have questions, I've had a couple people call the Recreation Department and ask questions. If I didn't know the answer, I would definitely find out the answer and give it back to you.
Great, thank you, Julie. What an awesome job taking questions impromptu. Okay, next slide, please. Right. Oh, Mr. Lamont, Terry?
I'm sorry, Terry, come on up.
No, not Terry, no?
Terry Lamanna, Terry Lamanna.
Terry Lamanna.
Terry.
No?
That's my fault. I'm sorry,
Right.
Mr. Lamanna.
Sorry, so sorry, Terry.
The same name screwed me up.
Okay, I'll go.
I promised him and then I forgot. Sorry.
I'm Terry Lamanna. I live up here on East Duncan Hill Road. Our family moved in here in 1952. I wasn't aware until tonight that you only had 3 minutes, but I had, can I submit something to the town later on?
You can go a little longer, everybody else has, go ahead.
The thing I don't understand is that you can't put a number on what the final cost is going to cost the town after 30 years. I know if I take out a mortgage for a $500,000 house or a $650,000 house for 30 years at 6%, that house is going to cost me over $1 million, almost $1 million after the 30-year mortgage. Same holds true for this particular project. You take out a $9.5 million bond over 30 years at whatever percent, if it's 4.5% or 5%, the number at the end of the 30 years is going to be closer to $16 or $18 million. So the people should know that. And if they know that and they agree to it, let's move forward. But this is something that's going to be paid in perpetuity, from what I understand, which means it's never going to end. It's a 30-year bond. Most of us won't even be here in 30 years. So the only thing I'm concerned about is that the people know what the total cost of this project is going to cost. Not 9.5 up front, but almost 17 million at the end. But is the $9 million bond, is that going to be a turnkey operation where when it's all done, the generators will be in?
Yes.
So that's it. So after that, it's just maintenance.
Maintenance and staff, which we have.
Right. But will that go towards the taxes or part of the town's budget, and that'll come to us as a
Your
town?
your maintenance and staff personnel and the maintenance that we do throughout the town now is already in your budget.
All right. But
So
this-
yes, it'll probably add
Add to it, so it'll be that?
Correct.
Okay.
utilities mainly.
All right. The other thing I wanted to just to find out about, and again, I'm not adversarial here at all. I just want to know some of the answers, but I have questions too. Who will be allowed to use the facility? Is it strictly and totally the residents of Dover? Or if people, as for example, a group that come from another town, there's a committee now or a group that's going to use this building, they're members of that group, but they're not members of Dover, the town of Dover. They could be from Pauling, they could be from Amenia. Are they going to be able to use it free of charge, or are they going to be charged membership if you're a non-member?
Anybody who would like to rent the facility out will probably pay a fee, just like we charge now. First and foremost will be the residents of Dover. Second will be organizations outside of Dover, other towns, other organizations, whatever, but they will be paying for the use. I pay for the use when I rent it.
No, I
Just,
mean,
we all do.
A group, say a group.
If it accommodates our schedule and our programs, I would have to say yes at this point in time. I don't see why we wouldn't if we're going to bring in revenue with it.
Okay. I think that's all about I have now. And that number can be had? We can get that number?
I'm sure we
The
can get it.
longevity, the 30-year number? Here's part of an answer, and some may like it, some may not. We know we want to borrow upwards of $9.5 million. Our interest rate isn't locked, okay? So by next meeting, I'll say it right here, we will try to get the best estimate we can with the interest rate that the banks give us that we would be looking at. Okay, if they tell us 5%, then we can come up with a number for you.
Okay.
Okay? That's our fault. But truthfully, that's the reason why I haven't sat down and thrown a number out there. We don't know what we're going to get. The final cost estimate might not come to $9.5 million. That would affect the end, correct? So we will try to come up with a number, because you've asked, I believe Mr. Orlando has asked, right? This gentleman, I'm sorry, he asked. We will come up with a number, we'll try to lock down an interest rate, and yes, try to give you the 30-year number total. Along with that, Mr. Orlando asked for revenues that we've brought in. I will have Julie put together the last 2 years of what we've brought in through our rental program. Would that be okay? Just rentals, like through program on there.
Do the whole thing.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make is that the total's not going to be just the 9.5 million. It could be closer to 17 million at the very end. So it's total project.
Correct.
Okay.
The interest.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're on the path. Now Terry.
Okay. Sure.
Well, even before I begin, it's so nice to see some really great people here.
all people that I have dealt with within the 20 years that I was recreation director. It's great to see everyone and the children, your children that I had and worked with for all those years, and working with all of you. It's just great to see everybody. And we got a packed house. That's a good thing. Okay. Hello, Town Board.
Bring the mic down just a little bit, Terry. Terry, there you go.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me here to speak tonight about this recreation community center. This was my passion when I was the recreation director, to build a recreation facility that gave, our residents a sense of unity throughout the community. This idea of building our own rec center is really not a new idea. Our former town supervisor, Linda French, and I were here, I believe in 2019, to present to the town board an idea, okay? An idea of having a recreation center here in the town of Dover. Our former town board challenged our idea, and it never came about. After much disappointment, we turned the page and lived with their decision. But I must say, it was a great idea, and it's a great idea now. Okay? So here we are again, contemplating another go-around of building a community recreation center. But this time, our town board is on board. We're promoting and developing a beautiful state-of-the-art recreation community facility. I couldn't be more excited about this. Much of my daily, monthly, and yearly planning of recreation programs and classes was about juggling schedules around to meet the needs of our community. Most of the time, it was a logistical nightmare. Using the schools to run our extended recreation programs was forever challenging throughout the years. Our schools have been very kind to us. They allowed us to offer recreation to our many residents that wanted to participate in our programs and classes. I can't thank them enough, because without the use of our schools, we would not have been able to run a recreation program. Using school facilities was never meant to be long-term planning for the town recreation programs. Using other organizations' facilities and accommodating their schedules and demands is not a typical or practical way for the town and other recreation to run. Community recreation is much more than short-term classes or programs. It is an essential town department for residents to meet and greet each other, forming important friendships, making lifelong memories, and promoting the quality of life for all. It is also about safety and making sure opportunities that exist that are implemented in highest regards, always keeping participants safe. The biggest factor lies within our day camp programs that is offered each summer for 6 weeks, and our playground program that extends the day camp weeks to 8 full weeks for children to take part in. And Julie did talk about this. It's a totally outside program that has grown in leaps and bounds over the years. The most important component is keeping children safe from the hazards like thunder, lightning, stormy weather, and the heat index. When it gets too hot, having a place to keep them cool. A place to go would be just what the health department would want for us to have. Instead of worrying about where to send than when they have inclement weather. And we do have a plan, there is a plan for them to go someplace, okay? This is only part of what the recreation facility could do to address this situation. There are so many more, like housing, our pre-K program, before and after school programs to help families that parents work till 5 or 7 o'clock p.m. in the evening, cooling places, and in sweltering heat for people to have, that don't have air conditioning. A safe haven for emergency services, and there are so many more practical uses that the community can take advantage of. Not to mention teen servicing, adult fitnessing, senior programs, and offering some very exciting arts and cultural events, and so on and so forth. Dover is a totally wonderful community with hardworking residents who are all willing to help and support each other with any needs that occur, and whose children and elders deserve to enjoy their young and senior years in an adequate community facility. I have a couple of questions that I want you to think about. So, looking at our community, there are challenges, okay? So we're looking at our challenges and opportunities for a better way of life. Diversity and welcoming culture are contributing to the fabric of our community. Dover's rich heritage gives the community a sense of worth and belonging. We have quality schools here that will attract families that want to live here. A community that houses a recreation center will someday mean more people in the community, meaning that the population will rise. And it may attract a grocery chain that will come here. But we have to put something out there first so that people will come. Recreation sells homes. A good recreation department will bring people to live here, all helping with the population and the demographics of our community. Without young families buying homes here, how can the community grow? Somewhere it was said, if you build it, they will come. Who said that? Does anybody know? What movie was it?
Field of Dreams.
What was it?
Field of Dreams.
Okay. A community recreation facility is just what we need to impact the demographic challenges we face here in the town of Dover. The time to do this is now. We can't wait any longer. So many negatives to a positive outcome is very mind-boggling to me. This is a win-win outcome for our community. Really think about it and answer those questions that I asked you at the beginning. Let's get it done, and let's get it done now. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Matt?
Great. And now I'll invite Matt Chibaro, the Town of Patterson Recreation Director, to talk a bit.
Hello, Supervisor, Town Board members, Mr. Jack Bellis, and members of the community. I'm here tonight just to kind of not sway you in one way or another, but since I am fortunate enough to have my own facility, I want to let you know some of the things that we do in Patterson that are not just a basketball court or not just kiddie programs. For instance, we have a thriving senior luncheon. We do once a month where we invite 100 seniors to the rec center and we cook for them. Different times of the year we provide entertainment for them. We have a weekly meeting of seniors that come to our center to play cards, play games, to talk, to socialize. We have things such as tag sales, okay? So we have our own climate-controlled gymnasium, basketball court, as you want to call it, where we set up spaces, mark them out on the floor, people come and sell their stuff. We have holiday bazaars where we have vendors come in and they sell their wares during the holiday times. Yeah, you could have those outside during the summer, but not in the winter. So you could do so many different things. We have dances. We have shows, military and knife collector show. We have, over the past couple of years, wine and chocolate festivals. These are all different types of things that, you know, as a town, as a community, as a board, as a recreation department, that you could bring in and you can generate revenue off of. You could also do things for free as well. We do something called open gym. Now, if you think during the daytime, well, what's going to be in my gymnasium or my building during the daytime? Because it's hard. Parents work, kids are in school. Not everybody works, not everybody's in school, not everybody has a daytime job. We offer open gym. Open gym allows community residents and outsiders to come in and use the space for a small fee, where we have a resident fee and a non-resident fee, to do different things. We have people that come in that do twirling. We have people that come in and walk the gym because it's too hot outside, or it's too cold outside. We do things like we've had I can't remember the name of the group. Well, we have tournaments, we have a ton of sports things, we have a ton of rentals. Our facility is rented for many, many different things. We have outside groups that come in and rent. For instance, there was a Dover group that just rented part of my facility for a penny social within the last couple of months. So it's not just sports, it's not just kids. There are so many things you could do. It's up to the community to decide what you want to do with it and if you want to do it. But we offer rentals. Somebody talked about outside groups, I think, as far as rentals. And that, again, that policy can be set by the town board, who gets first dibs, but it generates revenue. And you can rent to all different types of groups. We have had fife and drum groups in there. We've had the Sea Cadets rent from us. We have Little League organizations that rent from us. We have a big, a second community group from Mayapack now. We run our own festival for in December for Holiday Crafts. They needed a bigger space, so they rent from us. And again, it's a jigsaw puzzle for me and my staff to handle. But the more you could squeeze in, the more you could fit in, the more packed you could make it, the more opportunity there is for revenue. We run our own preschool there. So the opportunities are endless. You know, people need preschool. We used to run a half-day kindergarten program when the elementary school behind us was only half-day kindergarten. So we did a school-age childcare program. Now, different things for kids to keep them off the streets and out of trouble. We run Nerf nights. I thought was the craziest thing when it was suggested to me. So what that is we take our gymnasium and we turn it into a Nerf zone where kids bring their own Nerf guns. And the first thing I thought about was liability. We can't do this. But we talked with the lawyers. They all have to wear eye protection. And they run around and we set it up like a, you know, an obstacle course, and the kids come and they hide, they're shooting the Nerf darts and stuff like that. They have a blast. It's 2 hours where they're out of their parents here, they're out of trouble, and they're having a ball. We have pizza nights, which is basically 3 hours of Saturday night where mom and dad could go out to dinner and their kids are in a safe, locked facility, playing games you play in gym class, having pizza, doing arts and crafts. We run our summer camps out of there. It's endless, all the things you can do there. So if you think about it that way, there are other things besides youth basketball and youth sports programs that can be utilized at a facility such as this. Private parties, another thing we do a lot of rentals of. So now you're talking about giving space, so instead of your people having to go outside of your town, now they could stay in your town and have their birthday party, their 40th anniversary party, their reunions. It's just, the opportunities are endless. It's not easy though, I will tell you that. I'm there now 13 years and, you know, it's harder and harder. I feel like we need a second floor on our building because because there's just so much stuff. There's not an ounce of space on the weekends or evenings from November through the end of March. Because what else, you can't do anything outside. We are, in the Northeast, it's too cold. Fields are unusable. And what other opportunities are there for people? Where can they go? If you have a place you call your own, it's the best thing. But, if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them. Right here.
Mary Manfa from Wingdale, I just want to know, does it end up paying for itself?
It's pretty close. It probably costs the town maybe $100,000 a year, and that's put aside for our budget that it operates that way. We have a large staff. I'm the only full-time employee for the town in the rec department, and I'm management, so I could work 90 hours a week and they don't care, which is usually what happens. I have about 40 part-time staff members that work for me that range in age from 16 to about 75. As long as you have adequate staffing to handle whatever your needs are that you're doing in there, the opportunities, again, are endless. Somebody else had a hand raised?
No, I was just, I know our center isn't the same as your center, and our community is not the same as your community, but just as an idea of the possible, what is your, if you can disclose, what is your revenue per year on the programs that come in and pay to use your facilities?
Generally speaking, all in total, and this number might be off a little, but we average around $250,000 to $350,000 on a good year as far as revenue is concerned. Give or take.
Our note essentially would be about $600,000 a year, if my math's right, on a 30-year note on roughly 17 million. So that would kind of offset a third to a half of.
Again, depending on what you do, how you charge, but I mean, there are opportunities. I'm not aware of any recreation department that runs on a profit. So it's always going to be some cost to provide that for the town, but yeah, definitely, you could do comedy shows, you can do dances, we even had, something else I forgot, we had a local high school group wanted to do a small battle of the bands. And you know what? We did. We let them use it. We supervised it. These kids had a wonderful time. And it was fantastic. We even have, I think, one of the middle Saturdays in July, we have the Southern Duchess concert band comes to us and puts on a free concert in there. It's air conditioned, nice seats, ain't a bad spot in the house to listen to them play their music. And you're not that there's anything wrong with being outside and being hot and being eaten by the bugs, but it's so much nicer to be able to be inside in a climate-controlled building with a concession stand, offer drinks. It's nice, and it's good to see the community come out. They come together there. Julie.
Sorry. Your 40 employees, most of that is day camp employees. Like I have 31 employees for day camp, or 28, 29, 30 employees. So 140 is including with your day camp.
It includes everything. A lot of my staff stays with me year round. So basically, some of them predate me. I've been there, like I said, I start my 14th year tomorrow. Some of my older staff members have been there longer than I have, since the building was turned into a rec center, probably back in 2006. But yeah, the staff, again, the high school kids work around their schedules. The reason why we have to have, they're not all on at the same time, but they're all part-time, so I have to have so many of them to follow all the labor regulations, who's only allowed to work 4 hours, who's only allowed to work 8 hours because of their age, and how many hours they could work in a week, which is our work week, for them, 17 and a half hours maximum. So we're open 9 a.m., minimum 9 a.m. in the morning till 9 a.m. at night. A lot of times we're there earlier. We have a primary election coming up at our building on June 25th, so either myself or the maintenance guy is going to be there at 4:30 in the morning, and we won't get out of there till 10 o'clock at night. Again, just one of the different uses that we have.
So some of your kids some of the employees are high school kids.
Yes.
You're also employing.
Well, you know what? That's a good point you brought up. I think out of the maybe 15 to 20 high school, college age kids that work for me, 90% of them have come up through our programs. It is a good way to know who you're hiring because you know them, you know their parents, you know what you're getting. Yes, of course. Oh, well, I saw your hand first, then we'll come back here.
How big is your space?
My gymnasium is about 10,000 square feet. So if you look at their basketball court, if you put another section on, ours divides into thirds. So we have the full high school-sized basketball court plus another 3,300 square feet there. We have curtains that drop down. So I can have, we call it Gym A or Court 1, whichever, we're trying to get rid of the gyms and call it courts. But I can have something going on like cheerleading in Gym A. I can have my youth basketball practices in Gym B, and if I really want, I can have open gym in Gym C. You kind of can do whatever you can fit in there. We rent it either the whole gym or we rent portions of the gym. So some groups only need a third of the gym. We'll do that, and then to offset the space that's not being used, the curtain will drop and we'll have open gym or a program going on in the other space. It's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together every month for what we do there, but it's definitely worth it.
So you have only the one building to produce all this revenue?
Yes, one building. One building.
Dropped our down people $250,000 a year?
The one thing I'm jealous of, well, I'm jealous of a lot of things, but I love your fields here. That's the one thing I lack in Patterson. I was blessed to come into this beautiful building. I don't have the field space that you guys do, and I would love to get some, trust me, because then there's so much more I can do outdoors instead of indoors. But like I said, the one building does generate all that, but I really would love for them to put a second floor on, because we could fill it.
I have just a little question.
Sure.
You've been there a long time, 14
Yes.
years. Has any of the people who have money and means, philanthropists, ever donated to your facility?
I would like to say yes, but the answer is not yet. I'm working on some things, but we were fortunate when the building first was turned into a rec center. It did not have air conditioning, and that was a nightmare. This is before I got there. I started at the town was just got the grant from a senator who I won't mention his name now, but had granted us some money, and we were able to put these beautiful units in the building, and every one of the rooms is air conditioned and has heat, and you could function. Before that, they would run programs in the summer, and it was like 110 degrees inside that gym. It was not nice at all. But yeah, it would be nice if they could. I need some things. The building needs some updates, so it would be nice if I could find a philanthropist, but I haven't yet.
Well, we don't have a benefactor here.
Anybody else?
I was very fortunate to go to your facility as the recreation director in 2019. And it was a day off of school for the kids, okay? But it was good for me to be able to go on that day, so I went. And I met somebody else, but I didn't get to meet you. You weren't available. So open the doors and walk in, and who do I see? 6 kids from the town of Dover playing basketball in your gym. They go, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm here to check out the place, I want to see what it's all about." And they're like, so excited. "Why, are you guys?" "Well, yeah." And I would be talking about it and saying, "Yeah, this is exactly what we need." Oh, of course, now these kids in 2024 are probably in college, but it was amazing for me to open those doors and see those 6 kids playing basketball.
We get a lot of that. I think as Mr. Green, he would be in my place a lot. Me and him became very friendly. We get people from all over too, and that's the thing. It's great if you have enough kids in your town to run these programs, but a lot of times you don't, and you need to pull from outside, because I'd rather run a program full of kids than rely on the same 12 kids trying to do all my programs, because it gets boring, it gets repetitive, you don't meet new people. And so, like I said, I always say I don't discriminate. The more the merrier, but again, that's whatever the town wants to set as a precedent of who gets first dibs. If there's a resident versus non-resident, those are all things that could come. But there's no use for it if you don't have the building. Yes, ma'am.
I know we've been comparing, I commend Julie for all the research she's done with Fishkills and Patterson's and Paulings and everybody else's other centers, but we also have to keep in mind that you have a 12.1 poverty rate in your town. We have a 37%
Understandable, understandable. I don't know, do you have any facilities that you guys currently use in case of power outages or anything like that?
Library here, if we have to.
Okay, yeah, because our facility is also been designated as a Red Cross zone where.
This will be as well.
Yeah, it's a good asset. I mean, over the 13 years, we've had Superstorm Sandy and a bunch of other ones. I'm giving out dry ice. People are coming for water when the power's out, charging stations because we seem to have power outages more often than not. So again, a lot of different things you can do, and it helps out everybody. If nobody else has any questions, I thank you for letting me have this time, and, it's up to you guys. Whatever you guys want to do, you're the voters. So good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
To answer Terry's question real quick, revenue, this is about, it's not exact because I'm not the financial person, but I know what I brought in, but there may have been adjustments if people couldn't come and we had to give refunds or whatever. 2022, we did 122,000. That's the revenue we brought in. And 2023, about 116,000.
I have a question. There's no locker rooms?
No, we decided not to do any locker rooms. Talking to other facilities, they change or whatever needs to be done in the bathrooms. We decided not to do them. And they don't really use them as much. So.
Okay, what about lockers for?
That's something that we can always go into. I know that there's lockers that they have the little ones. That's a decision that we would have to make later on if there's a need to. But that's something that you can find space to do and figure that out afterward. It wouldn't be an upfront thing we would do. But if there's a need, if we can do it, we would try to do it.
I think wasn't it Matt that we met with? He said if he had the option again, they wouldn't do their locker or shower room.
Yeah.
It's space, it's unused space.
Yeah.
It's, well, a locker, I'll say a locker room, an athletic locker room.
Yeah, it's
unused space, they don't use it.
Right,
So
and
they could have utilized it truthfully,
could have more
they had
bathrooms.
chairs and stuff
Yeah.
stored in the shower area.
Yeah, they could have just put more toilets in, basically, is what
Yeah.
he said.
So Supervisor, in the interest of time, I just wanted to do a slide or two more.
Yep.
You'll see right there. Okay, so these were just some responses, just to maybe correct some information or provide some information that might be circulating on social media that may be distorted. So, all right, so I'm going to go through them quickly. The proposed building is neither a Taj Mahal nor simply a basketball court with offices. All right? It is the thoughtful design of town staff and consultants to try to meet the needs of the current recreation program and to expand it for people of all ages in our community. The next is that we have been using community surveys for more than 10 years now. That's how we get grants. We actually were commended by Dutchess County because we are one of the few communities that asks our residents what projects you want. So we use community surveys and we follow the input. The project proposed cost, part of that is because it requires New York State prevailing wages, which are based on state pay rates, not necessarily local rates. The town will only borrow what it needs to construct the building. The nature of municipal bonds is that you have to come up with a cost first, and then you put it out to bid. It's not putting it out to bid and then deciding from there. So based on a consultant who worked with us, an architect and a general contractor, that's where the proposed cost came to, but that doesn't mean it's going to cost that. That is just to give you a parameter as to what we can spend. In our town of more than 100 businesses, which maybe sounds where are 100 businesses? But actually, when we look in the assessor's office and look at commercial properties, our town has 100 plus businesses. And we're very blessed to have contractors and plumbers and painters and electricians and landscapers and businessmen who run great stores and roofers and HVAC and concrete companies who can all bid on this project. This amount can go back in Dover pockets. So it's not something that we're spending and not getting the benefit of. It's going to go into the pocket, it could go into the pockets of your neighbors and friends and the businesses that you really care about. We do have permission to put in a warming service kitchen, and of course we'll follow all the code regulations. We do know that the potable water is there, and that whether we need to have it treated to make sure that it complies, Dutchess County follows water testing at all our facilities here, everywhere, on a quarterly, sometimes monthly basis. Community investment is what outside developers like supermarkets they look for when they come to a community. They look for locations that draw people, and a community center draws families, seniors, visitors. That's what brings a supermarket when they see a busy little town or a busy area of town. The newsletter, granted, it just came out today, so we're very proud of it and we worked very hard on it. It's your most reliable source for information, or call the recreation office or call town hall. We'll be glad to talk with you. And lastly, this is a center for residents of all ages, children, families, adults, and older adults, a place where we can interact with each other. It'll be used by community organizations and nonprofits and residents for special events. So those are just some answers to some things that might be circulating that people have questions about. No, we'll skip that for now. Just to go back to the previous, can you go? Okay, great. So we'll skip the other ones in the interest of time, because I know everyone has families to get home to and maybe some dinners waiting for them. So I'll turn it back to Supervisor Yeno to close the meeting, or we do have one consent agenda item to take care of. Thank you all for being here.
After this consent agenda, obviously, on the agenda, as always, there is a public comments. We've had several tonight. They have all been made note of. They have all been listened to and taken into consideration, as I do each and every month. Okay, but let me get through this and then we'll do that again. All right, resolution authorizing a budget transfer, budget amendments, and the payment of an off-abstract purchase order, prior abstracts amendments. You all have that in front of you. Do I have a motion to accept?
Second.
Brought by Murphy, seconded by Maluta. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
As for the agenda, any public comments? Would anybody like to make one last statement? I think we have a few things to look at. Julie has actually answered a couple questions tonight. We can go back a little further if we have to, but as you see, 2 years in a row, we're right in the same ballpark. I will come up with that, a number on the mortgage, okay? I will answer that question for you, sir.
Thank you. One more quick question. What is the building proposed to be built out of? Like, what kind of building construction is it going to be? Steel building or stick built or?
What was the final determination he wanted to do for us?
I thought it was
Steel, right?
steel and concrete, because that's
Steel.
fire resistant.
Yeah,
Pretty sure
fire
that-
resistant.
Yeah.
Yep.
To have a 30-year
And
life.
I believe we did take the recommendation of Michael and do away with the radiant heat in the gym. So that would be in the new plan as well. And we're still considering solar to help out on that end. It'll all be determined within the cost. If we can do it, we'll do it. Okay? Any other questions? Ms. Lamanna?
It's not actually a question,
Last month, Jan was not able to be here, and I would just like to say, as much as we'd love to have our own space and everything, we're very thankful to have the Legion to meet in, and we'd also like to recognize Jan that since he has taken over as commander and worked really well with us, and he's made it a really great place, and we would just like to say thank you.
Thank you. So it's my pleasure.
With that, do we want to probably put a word out to see what night we can do next month? I know I'm not comfortable right now with setting a date. I know we're looking at the 10th, maybe. All right, I do have to, but let's put an email out to the board and to council, and let's come up to date. But I will say that we are looking at July 10th for the next special meeting, such as tonight. And then the 27th be the vote. And then the next regular meeting, I believe, is the 31st. Okay? With that, council, any reason for an executive session?
No.
No? Okay, so upcoming meetings are the possibility of July 10th, the vote on the 27th, and a regular meeting on the 31st. If no board member has anything else at this time, I move that we close this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made by myself, seconded by Councilman Holmes to close this special board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Thank you all very, very much.